What's up, Canes fans? It's your boy, the host, One Holloway, here on Mark Rogers TV, Miami Hurricanes channel. Mark is off handling some personal information, so I'm going to be here with you all just talking the talk. Today, we're probably going to do more of a Q&A thing. So if you have anything in the chat that you want to go ahead and ask the H1H, go ahead and drop it, man. We can go from conference realignment to spring updates to guys that we're looking for, position groups that we're looking for to have a good spring. Any of that kind of stuff you want to go ahead and break it down, I will do it. I just want to make sure I go ahead and hop on here and talk with you all, man, because I know that you've been waiting and that we were kind of late. So let's go ahead and talk. Let's talk Canes ball. Well, first off, let's talk about what happened today in spring ball. Now, at Miami today was the last day, the last practice before spring ball kicks off. So we had we had a like a shells day. You all know what shells is. So it's just helmet, shoulder pads, and then girdle with padded girdle kind of thing. And it was full go, especially O line, D line is always going to be full go under Coach Cristobal. So we still did inside run and stuff like that. It's just no tackling to the ground. Okay. And we're trying to get ready and prepared. One of the other great things that happened today was the Browse Award that is given to college football's best assistant coach was awarded to Coach Gaddish today in the middle of his presser. So that was a blessing to see the genuine honor and the genuine positive energy that was oozing out of him as he's sitting there getting that award and the smile that's on his face because when you come out of practice, you're still a little wiry, you're still a little fired up, still focused to kind of get these questions and get to film. And he was able to kind of be caught off guard by that. So, a couple things that also happened. Um, Coach Christy Ball was able to give a personal shout out to Bashard Smith today. One of the guys that's really stood out to him as far as someone that wasn't getting all of the accolades and a lot of rumors amongst Bashard Smith, and a lot of people have their opinions about him hitting the transfer portal because of Xavier Restrepo and all the love that Xavier Restrepo gets. Listen, Bashard Smith is a Miami Hurricane until proven otherwise. I don't see any reason why there has become so much um, negative energy towards the young man or assuming that he's going to be some kind of transfer material when he's the backup slot. And there are times we have two slots in the game at the same time when we go four wide. So I'm not really understanding, where a lot of that energy is coming from. I'm hoping that side of our fan base has started to really shut up, and just for lack of a better term, just kind of go somewhere else with that crap because we don't need that. We want our Miami Hurricanes to want to be Miami Hurricanes, especially when you talk about somebody who's good enough to be here. It'll be different if we're talking about a guy that we were already questioning the scholarship offer. We were already questioning if they were really Miami Hurricane material. No, but Shark Smith was SEC slot, Big Ten slot, Big 12 slot wide receiver. A legit 5'10" or 190 pounds off rip. The guys that we were getting at Miami in the slot were like 5'8" and a half, a buck 60, and we spent 4 years trying to get them to be over 180. So let's be grateful that we have a guy like Bashard Smith on this team, and it shows that Coach Christy Ball and his staff and their connection to what's going on in the Kane universe, that he was able to pull the young man aside today and let him know that he appreciates how hard he's been working and he sees him grinding and he appreciates him being a Kane. Because let part of this fan base tell it, everybody who's in a competition go transfer. So I'm happy to see that isn't where this went at all, especially when it comes to Rashard. All right. I just had to get that off my chest because it was starting to get to a point where it's weird, man. Grown men out here creating rumors. Weird. Okay, question. Will Miami try to add DBs over this summer before they start the 22 season? I don't know. I could see it, Gary Lewis. Thank you for the question. I could see it, but I think we're also going to be adding four freshmen and a transfer from West Virginia. So I don't necessarily see the big reason for doing that. Um, I understand, the question mark at the cornerback position. Now, our defensive coordinator, Coach Kevin Steele, talked about how defensive back, specifically corner, was the most surprising. Um, that to me still doesn't say that they are great. They just went from being an F to probably like a D or a C. So there's still a lot of growth that we're going to need and a lot of talent acquisition that will happen over the next 6 to 8 weeks when it comes to the Miami Hurricanes cornerback um, position. Mark, welcome to Mark Rogers TV.
Thanks for the welcome. I'll take it.
What's up? What's up, man?
Thanks for kicking things off and getting things revved up. Appreciate that.
Absolutely. The things that we got into was a little bit of an update from what happened today at spring ball and how Coach Cristobal gave a personal shout out to Bashard Smith and a couple of players. I chose to go in on the Bashard Smith thing because there seems to be this kind of BS going on in the fan base where people think he's going to transfer because he's behind the slot receiver when they don't understand you go four wide and both slots play. That Restrepo is not going to get 100% of the snaps out of like an 80 snap game at the slot position. So we just had to put that out there because the opposite was putting a lot out there. So I wanted to make sure I kind of matched their energy and exceeded it. And I was happy to see that Coach Cristobal came and gave him his personal shout out because he has been working hard and he hasn't been the face of what's going on in the U universe. So I was happy for him to get his roses because the narrative of him wanting to transfer, the narrative of him feeling like he's not going to play here is complete BS and it needed to be called out.
Falcon Rex, appreciate you being here, man. Thank you so much for the contribution as always. Absolutely. Well, I'm going to ask you about Saturday's spring game.
Oh, yeah, I can't wait.
And what you want to see.
Man, where you want me to start, brother? Okay. We've been fiending, man. We've been fiending for some Kane gear, and a lot of the conversations, like petty conversations. What are they gonna wear? Is it gonna be all black versus all white? Is it gonna be all orange versus all green? It's like little petty stuff because we're getting close to it. So it's around the corner, and God willing, if you wake up that morning, you'll be blessed to have the opportunity to watch your Miami Hurricanes play ball. So. All the little petty stuff like uniforms and things of that nature kind of resurfacing again. So we know that certain parts of the fan base cares about that, and other ones just want to see a healthy game. Just make it through the spring game. TBD, give us 10 snaps, and then go to the sideline and just watch the rest of the game. Then we'll have an opportunity to see Jacurri Brown against Jake Garcia. We get to watch that battle for the next, 58 minutes. Okay, we want to give him one drive, one touchdown drive for TBD. Nobody come anywhere near him. If you get anywhere near him, just stop. We're not going to give you a sack. It's okay. We just want to have, TBD connect with Bashard Smith for a nice 80-yard bomb and things of that nature. So we want to see that. A couple of specific players that we want to get into here. I want to see the O-line as a unit, yes, but I want to see Logan Sogapaloa. I think I'm saying that right. Transfer from Oregon, 72, number 72. I want to see him at right guard. He's been getting a lot of first-team reps over there. I want to see if the weight room, the guy that's squatting 700 pounds, is transitioning to the guy that can move folks out the way. Okay. I want to be able to see Chris Washington and Michael McLaughlin, guys I've been very excited about, running second team, locking down the two bookend tackles at second team offensive line. I want to see with them under the new tutelage of Coach Mirabal and Coach Cristobal, what's going to happen there? How are they going to look? How are they going to play? Okay. Ja'Kai Clark at center. What's going on with those double teams? Again, I'm going to start on the fronts, and that's something I'm going to zoom in on. And hopefully a couple of those snaps we'll be able to get the rear view where you can really see tackle to tackle or a little outside tackle to tackle and see what's going on in there with the battle up front. Flip it to the defensive side of the ball. I want to see Cyrus Moss. He's been getting a lot of shout outs for having his length and being a natural pass rusher. Can we translate that to a game scenario? Can we translate that to when the pads come on, what we're going to do as far as getting after the quarterback, getting in the backfield? And more importantly, Mark, can he start to split the double teams at this level? Okay, you got the length, but you still need some, some bricks in your pants, like Coach Steele said. You need some more peanut butter sandwiches, as they used to say, and really getting your weight on you and being able to use technique and get off to be able to get those hands and fully extend those long arms and use all of your length and getting things done there. So that's one of the guys, a couple of guys in the fronts that I'm really looking out for. I think Leonard Taylor's going to do his thing. So I'm not really worried about that. I want to see the battle between him and Sakapalu. I want to see the battle between him and Ja'Kai and him beating double teams, things of that nature, and Jalen Rivers. I want to see that. But again, I feel as though that's a lot more of a finished product. There's some other guys I want to see. Linebacker core, I want to see Wes Messina. I want to see him healthy and flying around and seeing 31 go edge to edge and flying sideline to sideline and making some open field tackles. I want to see this new tackling that this defense has been talking about, the new technique that they are bringing to the table, where we're talking about driving through people instead of alligator rolling folks. I want to see what is that going to translate to more tackles and higher tackle percentage, especially when you come through a lot of young men that's been in this program for 3-4 years that have been used to tackling the old way. Now, are they going to be able to step in and do that the right way? Okay. I'm not really too keen on corner. I mean, I like to see Al Blades Jr. play. I think Tyreek Stevenson is going to be out for the spring game because he's been out all spring. So Isaiah Dunson, I'm excited to see. That might be about it at corner. Okay. Safety, everybody's favorite. James Williams. Let's see. I haven't really heard much about him this spring. As far as playmaking ability, we've heard a lot about Avonte. Big interceptions and open field tackling with Avonte Williams. So there's that, man. And like I said, the tackling, the playmaking ability. How do we respond after giving up a big play, Mark? If TBD does hit Bashard on the first play on a flea flicker for a bomb over the slot and we tackle him at the 30, can we hold him to a field goal? Or do they just go straight in, touchdown, easy peasy, it's over? How do they respond? How do we communicate in the secondary? How are we tackling as a team? And how are we going to bring down Thad Franklin? He's been a big problem in practice. Not only that, but Henry Parrish, his transfer out of Ole Miss, has been a big problem for this linebacking core, coming out the backfield on wheel routes and out routes and slants of that nature, being moved to the slot in certain situations. So it's a lot. It's a lot. And again, I, for one, may be looking for different things than some other people, but I have a different eye. There's certain things that I want to see. There's certain things that I would know if a big play is given up, if that's just one player needing to find a different home, or, if there was just bad communication and TBD found a wide open man. Those kind of things. So if we keep turning on the film and seeing certain people get pulled away from and completely embarrassed, and then we've had 3 separate coaches at that position. Okay, it gets to a point where it's you. You're not freaking good. Go somewhere else. And I'm sorry how negative that could sound, but it's just that simple.
Falconer X wants to know how I grew a full beard so fast. This is not a full beard. This is the standard look right here, Falconer X. Appreciate you being here, though. Uh, did you hear what Dabo Swinney suggested about a preseason game?
No.
Okay.
I don't really listen to Dabo Swinney in the off season. He's usually spewing some kind of BS. And then people pick sides on it, and I think he does it because he wants to stay relevant. And as far as being the coach that does that, that says that kind of crap, and so everybody's like, "Oh, I like what Dabo said." Or, nah, Dabo's crazy. And people pick a side, and he becomes a topic of discussion in IL deals. The controversy at quarterback when we all know the other guy's better than the person you're starting right now with DJ. Okay, tell DJ I love you. Go to UCLA. Go to Cal Berkeley. We got the better guy. Let's not do the same crap again that you did to Kelly Bryant and shipping him off halfway through the season. When if you want to be the best and if you want to win, you play the best, and that's just how it goes. He really gets under my skin. If you can't tell, I cannot
I
stand
guess.
Dabo.
I like Dabo.
I bet you do.
I think he's good for college football. I like Dabo. That I have produced at least 2 videos blasting him for stupid things he's said and rants he's gone on that made no sense or didn't have any backbone to them. So it's not like I haven't taken my shots at Dabo, but overall I like Dabo. But if he has his backup quarter, well, what would be the backup quarterback, Uiagalelei, leave, then that's his backup quarterback. He's got a thin quarterback room, and if he kicks one out, he's not going to have his backup quarterback. Anyway, we'll get back to Miami.
No,
Anyway.
and I get that. That's a good point. But I was just saying, he brought back what's his name, who wanted to be a coach and found out he had extra year eligibility. The guy that saved him a couple years ago. So it's all good. I just that dude, he gets under my skin. Not too many people in this world genuinely get under my skin when I see their face. The Tallahassee Spear and Dabo Swinney's face. Those are the two things that just really get under my skin.
Huh. Dabo's one of my favorite coaches. Anyway, he made this statement during the Clemson spring game when they had him mic'd up. He said that this is the only level of the sport from Pop Warner all the way through to the NFL where there are no preseason games, no kind of scrimmages against opponents. And he would like to see, whether it be in the spring or it sounded like he would rather have it in the fall, have schools that are close to each other in proximity, geographically, just like we see the Rams and the Chargers get together for a week during August camp, or the Browns and the Bank. Well, usually not a team in your division. The Browns and the Lions, or whoever's close, visit the other training camp and get some work in and have some scrimmages.
I think it's a good idea. I mean, it's a good way to get kinks out. I mean, people can find so many ways to be negative with that. Well, what if one person gets hurt? And what if this person does this? I get it. I mean, there's a way that you can regulate that, but I think there's a lot of other things we got to get right in college football. And finding a college football commissioner, I think that's going to be one of the first things that I think we should do.
I agree.
I would love a college football commissioner. I don't know where they would go with that, and I know that there's somebody listening to me going, "Oh, but then they could get corrupt. We already have 13, and 13's already corrupt." We got to have some kind of structure to this thing. Every other sport has like a person that kind of is the face of it and works with everyone else. And instead of it being the NCAA, we need to have one person. It would be great if they didn't have any previous connections. I mean, you don't want this guy to be the former head of the Pac-12 or Big Ten or SEC or whatever, but we should find one guy or girl and a man or woman that can be able to kind of oversee some things. And then we could get into a lot of that other stuff like me and you talk about with scheduling and only having schedules come out maybe after everyone's concluded their spring game, then you find out who you're playing that fall and stuff like that. So um, there's a lot going on in college football that I think, Mark, 5 years from now we wouldn't even recognize the sport because, and I think for the better. You're getting a lot of good minds that are starting to push out some of the old school thinkers and letting them know, hey, this is now we need to start progressing and we need to have growth in this sport. And I see it on the horizon.
Gary wants to know if the Canes are going to try to add defensive backs over the summer.
Oh yeah, we answered that one. That was one of the first
Okay.
ones I got to.
All right, Tim, good to see
My
you,
answer
man.
is,
Appreciate you
what's
being here.
up,
Thank you
Tim?
for the contribution. My favorite voice of college football team show with the wholesome one. Look at that.
Heck yeah. I'm excited about it, man. I'm excited. Excited about the opportunity that we got going on here, and things going well. Yeah, Mark, Mr. Lopez brings up a great point. When can we get our helmet?
What are we looking for?
The Miami helmet over your right shoulder.
Oh my goodness. It's like 3 inches away.
Oh! We couldn't even see it. It was so cropped out.
All right. There you go.
There we go.
I'm not looking at
We
these
could
helmets
not see
most of the time. So they're just back
I
there.
like those two next to each other, though. I
Yeah.
love those two.
I know
helmets
you
next to
like
each other.
that. I know you want to see that game.
Oh man, I don't know if I'll be happy at the end of it, but I would love to see it. You know, I think Lincoln Riley would give Coach Cristobal a definite run for his money, but yeah, that's what we want. You know, we want the two best teams in college ball to go at it.
Have you had a chance to analyze Mitchell Agood, the linebacker?
Yes, the UCLA linebacker. See,
Yeah.
here's my thing. Here's my thing. I trust this for the first time in I don't know how long. Can say I trust this staff. He seems to be. We're recruiting him and going after him. I'm not trying to shortchange it, but I think we should do exactly what I said earlier this week. Mark, let's think about it like this. You asked Cam a question, right? About 2 5-star offensive linemen who hit the portal just last week. After last week, a week ago today, we had this same conversation, and I said to you, Miami should pause, wait, because once all the spring games are done, a bunch of those 5-stars who feel like they should be playing are going to hit the portal. I believe, be it from Ohio State, and that usually doesn't happen a lot, but Georgia, Bama, LSU, they're going to be these elite prospect linebackers who are going to hit the portal if we just stay steadfast, if we just hold on a little bit. We lost a couple young men, one specifically in Tyreek Austin Cave, linebacker to the transfer portal. We also lost a running back in Cody Brown to the transfer portal. I believe Tyreek Austin Cave is going to go up either to a bigger school in the Big Ten or going to go to Rutgers and just kick ass. I think he's a good player. I really think he's a good player. Not the most athletic, so the Big Ten is perfect for him as far as being able to sit in that middle backer, take on pulling guards, and pull up on running backs. Okay. Cody Brown, I don't really know where he can go. I mean, I think he can go to Tennessee, former commit to Tennessee, and then got out of his deal and came to Miami. So we'll see. But I think, we will have more of that, people leaving, which means that we are going to have more scholarship openings for us to be able to take on more. So again, we're going to work both of those, both ends of that spectrum. People are going to go out, which means we'll have more room to bring people in. And who's to say you don't bring in the UCLA guy and one of those big time SEC 5-star linebackers come in. And, there's a familiar name being talked about again with Miami. So we'll see, just in case. We'll see if he wants to come and be a Kane.
Good racked up 55 tackles, 6.5 tackles for loss, 2 sacks last season. Armando is looking for the format of the spring game. So
Great question.
I'm going to add on to that after you deliver what the format is of the spring game, what format you prefer for a spring game to get the best evaluation.
Man.
Besides playing a game, obviously.
I personally prefer 1 versus 1s on each side. So let's say the offense gets the ball first, and the first team offense was against the first team defense, and we keep that going. We go for at least, I would say, 3 or 4 drives of that. Okay, and we get it. So let's say the offense scores, then flip the field. They run to the sidelines and do the kick, simulate the kickoff, and then now first team offense, first team defense out there again. And now you go from the opposite end of the end zone and drive all the way down. Okay, now then you might, after those 2 drives back to back, now you might get your chance to get your second teamers in there, sprinkle a couple in instead of putting the entire second team defense out there or the entire second team offense out there. What that does is now you start to mix your first team. Let's say you keep your first team middle linebacker because they're usually the signal caller, but you bring in the second team D line. So now he's able to work with them and build chemistry with them, letting them know where they need to be aligned at and where they're going. Vice versa, the quarterback doing the exact same thing. Now, I don't think we'll keep TBD out there that long, but TBD now would get an opportunity, theoretically, based on how I'm saying it, to go out there with the second team wide receiving core and the second team tight end and build chemistry with them going up against the first team DBs and the first team linebacking core. That kind of stuff where you're mixing it, because eventually you want these people to cross, and you want the older and the more experienced to be on the same field with the younger to help pull them up, whether it be through communication, whether it be through big playability, things of that nature. Because what happens is, if you put the wholesale second team out there, sometimes you get lost. Okay, sometimes I didn't get the call. I thought it was blue and it was red. I thought it was green and it was orange. But if you have the first team free safety, the first team middle linebacker, and let's say the first team DN out there, and you mix them in with a couple of the other second team, outside linebacker or the other corner on the opposite end, is now you got the first team free safety over top of you. So now you could play underneath and you get to have that communication. Hey, we have our hand signal. This is what this means, or banjo and things of that nature. So that's what I prefer, because I've seen it really work well as far as helping people get better, mainly through communication. But I believe that is not what's going to happen. Based on what Coach Cristobal gave today, he wants to simulate a game for a little bit, and especially being 1v1, best versus best early, and then it'll go into whole second team versus whole second team, whole third team sprinkled in there, because I don't believe we have enough to go full third team out there, third team and walk-ons just yet.
So if I'm thinking of this format, the way you sized it up in terms of what you would do, the first team defense is going to be on the field for 2 consecutive series.
Correct.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Which happens in real football. They could be out for an entire series, and then there could be a quick turnover. They might have to be right back out there. So it's to a certain extent, it's not fair. They could get worn down with like 2 12-play drives, but at the same time, it happens.
And the reason why I put it like that, Mark, is because when you do that format, we're testing a lot. We're going fast. We're going physical. I put you back out there. I'm testing adversity. Let's say you just gave up a touchdown, and then the kickoff takes it back real far, and then your offense is out there. They throw an interception. Now we back out there. What you're doing is you're simulating that kind of stuff, and you're really testing that conditioning. Because easily, let's say it's 3 and out, 3 and out. Either way, you're testing to see how your young men respond. You're testing the big bodies on offense and defensive line. You're testing your cornerbacks having to run with these wide receivers for technically 24, 27 straight plays. Now, this is something that doesn't normally happen in games, but it's a way to test that condition, test the mental stability of your defense more specifically, because the offense knows the play. I mean, the play is being called. The defense is reading and reacting to, and how do we continue to go when we're tired? How do we continue to play when we're frustrated about giving up a big play or just giving up a 15-play drive for a touchdown? Now we run to the sideline, get a drink of water, do some conversation on the sideline. Now you got to go out there and do it again. But now we're trying to get that 3 and out. Now we're trying to bait the quarterback into the interception. That kind of stuff where I'm sitting, I know it's cover 3, okay, but I'm sitting like it's cover 2, and I'm sitting right on him. And he doesn't know that I'm sinking into deep thirds. So now when that slot does a corner route, I'm dropping right there. It hits me right in the hands. Interception. All those kind of things we're doing to really test the offense and test the defense. And we don't want either side to get too comfortable. All right, let's say the defense does force a big-time interception or big play on that first drive. Nope. Line up and get all this. A whole new drive, flip sides, let's do it all over again. Or if the offense goes out there and gets a big play and goes on a nice touchdown, that don't matter. New drive, flip it all over again. It's 0-0. Go out there and do it again. So again, like I said, it's a psychological practice for your young men.
Talking Miami football with all of you each and every Thursday night with the Wholesome One, 8 o'clock Eastern time. So we appreciate 131 on the line, but of course, keep in mind those folks that whether that's personally or on social media, that love college football. Doesn't have to be the you. I see multiple USC fans here. Notre Dame, Ohio State, Oregon.
Well, the cousins are looking out for the other cousins. USC wants us to get good so that we can give them a championship game.
I don't get that connection. I know you like it. I know Cam likes it.
Well, I mean, okay, let's put out the similarities, Mark. Okay. You ready?
Okay.
Big city, private schools.
Yep.
Historic programs.
In different ways. Sure.
Exactly, right. Championship pedigree. NFL Hall of Famers, college football Hall of Famers, but more specifically about them being from big cities. It's not a college town. You talk about being in LA and being in Miami. Those cities are also very similar, very urban in their approach, and great recruiting grounds, great fertile grounds. Now, different things. Cali has the quarterbacks, and South Florida has mostly skilled positions that bring to the table. So those two helmets are kind of synonymous in those ways, in a lot of ways, but more specifically off-campus stadiums, fan bases that can be deemed a little fair weather when they're not the best. Okay, great history, but recently not too well, having to have a resurgence with new coaches from a great recent history, now going to these prominent programs and trying to bring them back up. So I definitely think that they're similar programs. And like I say, cousins, I say brothers. They didn't come from the same woman or father, but they're definitely similar. And I would also think that the hatred of the programs when they are on top can be viewed very similarly. Pete Carroll's viewpoint when he was at USC and how the South hated him was very understood. And we all understand how Miami is treated when it's on top and people can't stand it. So those are a couple for you.
Okay. That's a good rundown. I can see all that. I guess I just look at it different. Like I take everything you say. It's all valid. It's absolutely valid. I don't, and I must be in the minority because I do see all these Miami fans that want to play USC and want both programs to get good and to face off. I guess I just don't see it. Don't see any difference between USC being great versus Notre Dame being great versus Ohio State or Michigan being great or Alabama being great and facing those kind of programs in the playoffs.
And I think that's a great beauty of media. A lot of people look at media from a negative light. I look at it from a lot of different perspectives. Doesn't make mine wrong or yours right. Doesn't make yours wrong or mine right. But we're able to kind of put that out there and share different viewpoints. And I'm happy that a lot of the ability for media is spread all over. I mean, anyone can make a YouTube channel and hop in front and talk. And it wasn't always that way. It was only certain narratives being put out there about certain programs and about certain people and about certain teams. And now you're able to get a plethora of viewpoints. And that's the beauty, man. It's the beauty.
Yeah. As Johnny says right there, it's a Canes thing, Mark. You wouldn't understand. So just like if it was if it was a Notre Dame thing, you guys wouldn't understand. Everybody's got their
That's
own
100% true.
everybody's got their own culture and their own viewpoint on all that. And I know the older I get and the more I talk to college football fans, and I appreciate that we can all connect, and I appreciate that people care to listen to me, because I'm sometimes amazed, because sometimes my opinion seems to be not necessarily my opinion. It's not my opinion on things or my rankings or ratings or my take on things that people have that don't appreciate, because I certainly thank you all for generally responding with great feedback on the things that I give evaluation to. But it's more where I stand as a fan, and what excites me or doesn't excite me seems to be very much off the radar, and not necessarily what hypes up most people or so forth.
And it can be. I just think that one of the other things that gets under my skin is people having clickbait, or people taking jabs. The Miami Hurricanes fan base is a very active fan base on social media. So people love to make comments or jabs or innuendos towards Miami, because they know it's going to get traction. They know it's going to get retweets and quote tweets and people calling an idiot or all that kind of stuff. So it gets kind of annoying. But like I said, it's a family. We call it the U family for a reason. We know us. We know our cousins and brothers and sisters in the orange and green armor. And some of us are a little easily agitated, and some of us are able to be cordial and keep it moving. So, not accusing you of doing anything like that all the time, but definitely it's well known that if you want to get under a fan base's skin, find Miami, find something to put out about Miami, you'll get some traction.
And that's why I find it funny. Sometimes I get criticized for either being too nice, and people saying, well, you're trying not to piss anybody off, and you're being too nice, and you're not. And then I have other people that tell me that I'm poking the bear, that I'm putting stuff out there just to get people riled up. And neither extreme is the case. I call it like it is from my perspective. That doesn't mean that's what it is. That doesn't mean I have the truth and nobody else does. That means it's my perspective. Now, facts are facts, but perspective is perspective. And I call it like it is from my perspective, whether that's complimentary for, take this program in particular. Have I been complimentary? Absolutely. Mostly to its history and mostly to its recent moves. Have I been critical? Absolutely. When it comes to the last 15 years of football production, yes, I've been critical. I might be the only guy on YouTube. When you talk about the Miami YouTube family, I might be the only one who cranks out as much, this is thanks to you, Cam, and others, but who cranks out as much Miami content as is produced here from a neutral standpoint. Like, I'm cranking out Miami content, but it's coming from a neutral host, at least.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah,
that's
for the most
probably
part
unique to YouTube.
Yeah, I would agree. For the most part, I mean, excluding your comments last week that were very skewed in your scarlet and gray viewpoint. So, and that happens. I mean, we all have our allegiances, and we all have our viewpoints.
You see, I think you missed my point on that, Wholesome One. My
I
comment.
don't think we should revisit that.
Let me just state it this way.
Okay.
That other team that Miami played in the Fiesta Bowl could have been USC, could have been Oregon, could have been Alabama, and I would have been making the same comments. My comments had nothing to do with the other team. They had to do with Miami fans hating that other team when they had no control over the call. You should, if you want to hate somebody, hate the officials. I don't understand. The other team had nothing to do with the call. So that other team being Ohio State has absolutely nothing to do with my comments. It absolutely doesn't have anything to do. If, we can take other points in college football history and I make those similar comments and where I have no rooting interest whatsoever.
I don't know. I get where you're coming from.
Okay. All right. We got Armando here.
Oh,
response to FSU putting out.
Dude, Mark.
Was this a video that
these people turned it into a mini documentary?
Wow.
That they got 4th and 14 on Miami. Now we're the ones that we get accused of by these people from up north by saying we look at them as their as like our Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
We don't make mini docu-series about one play. They got Mike Norvell on there. They got Jermaine Johnson on there. They got the quarterback and the running back. Everybody's on there like, oh yeah, that play is the highlight of the season, and biggest great comeback. And we're like, thank you. Thank you. From me to you, I will never, ever, ever be grateful for anything that school produces or does ever again. But for 4th and 14, from the H1H to the people that wear the throw up in gold, thank you. What you did, getting that previous staff, I'm going to put them all together because everybody thinks I hate Manny Diaz. I'm always jabbing at Manny Diaz. Okay. So getting that whole previous staff to seek shelter elsewhere has pushed this program into a completely different stratosphere. We brought Mario Cristobal home, who could turn out to be the greatest coach in Miami history or just one of the great coaches in Miami history. We have arguably one of the best staffs on paper in an offseason put together. Again, arguably. I think it's a top 10 staff right now until they actually start to play games. Okay? It's that simple. But you all did it, and you did it for us, and I appreciate it. So blare the war chant, get on your high horse, and run to the middle of your cornfield and throw the spear in the middle of the ground and go crazy. Thank you, man. We really appreciate it so much. Thank you for turning it into National 4 and 14 Day per their own words, Mark. They literally named the title Happy 4-14 Day. Their quarterback made NIL t-shirts on 4th and 14. And we are so grateful for what you did. And you know what? We will look back on it when we win our ACC championship, the first in school history. We'll look back on it when we blow you out 50-10. We'll look back on it when we go on another 4 or 5 game win streak on you and say thank you all so very much for 4th and 14.
Okay, wholesome one. You know what role I play here. You know what I'm going to do. So I don't even want you to wait until I'm done with my dissertation. If I say something that you have an issue with, I want you to just cut me off. Tell me, okay? Because I'm both going to look at it from the Florida State side, but also hopefully from more of a neutral standpoint. So this is the biggest rivalry on both teams' schedules. Florida State, Miami, Miami, Florida State. This is from a guy that's been watching college football forever. This is how I look at it. I believe that this is the biggest rival for each school, even though Florida State plays Florida at the end of the year, and that's 1B. Okay. And to a certain extent, and I take this perspective coming from a all-time great rivalry that's near and dear to my heart. There are certain games in the series that are bigger than others because there are championship aspirations on the line, et cetera, et cetera. Then there are games like last year when both teams are down and down to different extents. Miami certainly a decidedly better team than Florida State, but both down, did not factor in championship play or anything like that. But the game means something because of pride and because of the rivalry, regardless of what the records are. There is a certain cachet and meaning to the game. So if Miami had pulled off a 4th and 14 to beat Florida State, and let's say Florida State went out because of that and they finished whatever they finished with their record and fired their coach, fired Mike Norvell, and went out and hired, I'm going to try to come up with somebody comparable to Mario Cristobal, James Franklin.
Deion Sanders.
Well, I was going James Franklin. James Franklin, somebody who's not won a bunch of national not at the top of the line, but he's accomplished a lot. So that's pretty comparable. Let's say James Franklin, whomever. I don't think, you correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think you would care about that. Like you'd be scared about James Franklin. You'd just be like, whatever, that you guys did what you did. I don't pay attention to you. All I know is we pulled off a 4th and 14, Tyler Van Dyke to Bashard Smith, and we pulled the game out, and I was happy that we won. Mm-hmm. Now, in terms of producing a video, okay, that's a bit much. Producing a video, most of the time when a team produces a video based on a play like that, it's because the play then it would be one thing. Okay, Florida State's had 3 or 4 awful seasons in a row. They pulled off this 4th and 14 against Miami. They beat Miami for the first time in 4 years. And then it catapulted them to 7 consecutive wins, and they went to the Orange Bowl. Okay, we're going to produce a documentary versus, yeah, we pulled out a game.
You know what's funny? You just described
than us. Then we immediately went back into losing, and we had a bad season. Like, why produce a video?
What you just described is what happened when we broke the streak. When we did our fade route to Daryl Langham, Rozier to Langham, and we went on a 7-game win streak, 10-win season, went to the Orange Bowl. That ain't what happened with these people. They lost the very next week. They also lost the Florida game. They haven't been to a bowl game. So yet again, I understand where you're coming from. And like I said, if the roles were reversed, yes, I would still be talking as much trash as I did for the last 4 years and will continue to do. Because we do win the series, and we went on the most recent long streak, so I get that. But again, it's one of those things where it was like, all right, you got us, you won the game, good, but it continued to be brought up like over and over and over and over and over. Like 4th and 14, 4th and 14, the 4th and 14. Like literally, that was all they have. Okay, well, if that's all you have, then therefore you're holding on to that, and we are your Super Bowl, and we will always be Big Brother. It's that simple. So, like I said, you well within your right to play devil's advocate. That's okay. You do have a channel that represents that school, and you got people that come on and talk about that school. And I don't know why, but you got people that talk about that institution and talk about the glitz and glamour of that program, and that's cool. And again, I will never share the screen with them, but hey, it is what it is, So it was just weird. It was brought up. It wasn't something that I brought up initially. So for those of you all who are on #RewatchSquad Squad or the cropped out version of this video, which there will be a cropped out version of this video of this particular part, host one goes on a rant, hates Tallahassee. That's the title. It was brought up by someone else, and I answered the question. I cannot, and even if we did that, Mark, I don't see us turning around and creating a national happy Rozier to Langham Day. I don't see that happening. But for them to literally take April 14th and turn it into Happy National 414 Day and put up a mini docu-series on their Twitter channel,
It is weak.
Yeah.
It is weak.
Yeah.
I was partially playing devil's advocate, and I was partially just trying to play it from a neutral standpoint, which I obviously have. But yeah, you can be happy that you pulled out a game against your rival, but it didn't amount to anything after that, and continues to not amount to anything. So yeah, that's a little weak.
Mm-hmm.
Falcon Rex, doing my best to keep up with those super chats. We appreciate them coming in. You've asked for the area code to Columbus, Ohio, which I know is 614. You've asked for the area code to Tallahassee, which I do not know. And now 4 and 14 video is worse than the Seminole rap video. All right.
My God, Mark, this is stuff I'm talking about. Remember all the flack Miami got for the turnover chain?
Sure.
Well, the in-state rival Gators had a spring game on a Thursday night, sweet Lord. Right now on the SEC network, they have a touchdown chain and the turnover chain.
Are you watching them right now? Are you able to pick them up?
It's on Twitter.
Okay, because I was going to say they're not on the SEC network, unfortunately, or I would be locked in on that. Well, I wouldn't be locked in during our show, but anyway, I'm taping the morning replay. So, I got to do my best to cover everyone, but they've got a turnover what?
A turnover chain, like a literal chain.
Why would they copy?
Everyone has, Mark.
Yeah, but they're a rival. Like Florida State copied it, but they did something different with it. So, but to copy it exactly. Wow. See, that's also pathetic.
Innovators.
It's also pathetic when you copy your rival and it's obvious. Like I can't believe that Billy Napier, well, I guess I can because I see the proof right there. And I know nothing about the man except for he's a good football coach, but he hasn't proven anything at the Power 5 level, but that he would. If there's anything I would want as, I won't go into other industries, we'll keep it to football. I would want to be known for it's being kind of, I'm my own man, our team, win or lose, we're our own, we're authentic. Not that you're not influenced by things, but to just flat out take a rival's innovation, that's just, it's pathetic's the only word I can come up with.
I mean, Mark, we on Aflac commercials. You got their best player in school history handing Nick Saban an Aflac chain.
It's true.
Where do you think they get that from? They now have a Bama boys chain that they put on with recruits when they go to Alabama.
Now, let me make sure that this is correct because I believe both you and Cam have verified this. It's always been my thought that Miami invented the turnover chain or any kind of award given to the player that makes a play. But Alabama started what first?
The turnover belt, the championship belt.
Yes, the belt.
In 2015, they had the turnover belt, which was first awarded to Mika Fitzpatrick.
Okay.
So, hey, man. It's funny that we spend time talking about that other school, and then I scroll Twitter and find out this about the other school. I mean, wow.
Well, I appreciate that at the point that there was conversation back and forth about the turnover chain, that that you set me straight and educated me on, because I just thought it's a chain, just like anybody wears a chain, could wear a chain. I don't have one on now, but I've worn one in the, you know what I mean? Like there's no significance to it. There's no history to it. There's no cultural connection to it. It's just, we're going to, have some swag and flash and you educated me on the the cultural origins of it and connection that makes it authentic to Miami and makes it make sense to Miami that if Kansas State did it or Wisconsin would make absolutely no sense.
And you know, the Cuban League in specific, you know, there's a difference between regular chain and Cuban leagues. You know, it's a Dade County thing. So, I mean, hey, if it isn't good, you know, it's not going to be imitated. You know, one of the biggest quotes from Ric Flair is his figure four leg lock. For those of you all who are wrestling fans out there, the figure four leg lock has been used by multiple people. The one person to have made it the thing and to win multiple world championships, whether it was in the World Wrestling Federation or WCW or you know, NWA at the time, where he really ran things in the National Wrestling Association. You know, he simply said, most people quote if you want to be the man, you got to beat the man, but often imitated and never duplicated is another one of his big quotes that a lot of people don't really bring up. But people wouldn't imitate you. And imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. If people didn't think anything of it, they wouldn't imitate it. So just that simple, man. But to bring it all home, had plenty of conversations about all that other stuff. You know, did you have something you were about to say, Mark, before I cut you off?
No, keep going.
Okay, just to say, bring it all back home to Miami. You know, so that we can end the show on the Miami Spring. There were a couple young men that I want to give personal shout outs to that I saw have a lot of growth. And it came from some of the film that we were able to see. Also having to listen to some of our coaches speak, and Jacurri Brown at quarterback, a young man that has to deal with, you know, being you know, a 6'4.5", 220, almost 230-pound black quarterback from the South. There's a lot that people think that he can't do. And he spent a lot of time really honing in on his accuracy, on his feet work. And to hear him speak about a lot of that stuff today was very moving for me, Mark, because he admitted to being able to out-athlete everybody. I got a big arm. I just sling the ball down the football field. I make a guy shake and bake, break down, you know, 60 yards. He's like, I got here and it wasn't about that. It wasn't about my athleticism. It was about my preparation. It was about my attention to detail. It was about my accuracy. It's about my footwork. It's about doing it the exact same way every single day and being a leader, not just because I play quarterback, but because that's who I am. And to be surrounded by a staff that helps me become the best version of myself. You know, so to hear those kind of information and to hear that coming from an early enrollee who should be going to the prom in a couple weeks, that really stands out to me. And I'm really happy to see his growth and really happy to see him getting better, making certain passes, missing some still, because he's maybe a mango season or two away from being a starter here at Miami. So yes, make your decisions. Throw your pick sixes. Learn from them, though. Learn what happens when you don't call the right protection, when you don't move the running back to the right side because the O-line is sliding, and now you got the O-line sliding to the right and the running back feeling to the right, and now you get sacked from weak side because there was no one there. And there's a 6'5", 250-pound DN that could have blew your back out, but instead he, you know, had to stop because it was practice. Learning from those kind of things, learning that you can't just chuck the ball up over the middle of the field. No, these safeties can go track that ball. You're not going to be able to just throw it late across the middle because you got a great, strong arm. Or you're not going to be able to pull every read option because this DN, like Cyrus Moss, can plant, turn, and catch you at the line of scrimmage. You can't break for 30 yards on some of these guys. So really personal shout out for me to Jacurri Brown at the quarterback position, and him really turning heads and continuing to be himself. You know, he didn't have to go into the shell. He doesn't have to be the quiet type. He can still be loud and rah-rah and be who he is and an energetic player, but doing it the way that it needs to be done at this Division I level and at the highest level. And that, to me, brings a smile to my face, and it shows a lot of growth in Jacurri, not only as a person, but as a football player and as a young man growing in today's society. So very, very happy for him with that.
Let's wrap up with a number of super chats. We appreciate it. So Falcon Rex, this guy is a master at taking a conversation and spinning it into a phrase like this one. Adidas's new slogan, just do it. That is brilliant.
Crazy, ain't it?
Falcon Rex, the chain is Miami. We should keep them for really special occasions once we are winning again.
I agree. I've been very open about this. I think we need to earn that opportunity back because you're right, Mark. I remember us talking about this years ago now at this point when it came out in 17. By 2019, it didn't have the same effect on his team. And by 2020, it was kind of like, cool, the chain's out. Even the camera wasn't even focused on it anymore, which is what we always wanted. Like, hey, they get the tournament chain short for a little bit, put it back on the team. Don't just hone it in on this turnover chain thing. But I'm hoping that it does stay around, especially for recruiting and things of that nature. But and if it doesn't, I know that Coach Cristobal sat and spoke with these players, and maybe it wasn't as impactful as a lot of us fans think it was. And if they're willing to step away from it and just use it as a recruiting prop, why not?
Love the comment, Mike. Share the video. That would be phenomenal. Thank you for that. Falcon Rex, Florida Gators did not copy the FSU backpack.
Just saying.
The whole backpack, that just seems like
weird, wasn't it?
Really lame. Chuck C, appreciate you being here. Thank you so much for that as well. So this show brought to you by Falcon Rex, Chuck C, and I believe Armando. Thank you, Mark, for continuing the off-season fun and chatter. It's been a fun spring watching the Canes basketball and baseball teams play well. Also, lots of energy around UM and encouraging commitment. Awesome stuff.
It's been on fire. The whole place has been on fire. The basketball team, we hired Coach Cristobal. Now the basketball team's good. The baseball team, number 2 in the country. Track and field setting records. Tennis is winning championships. We got water polo diving. I mean, all kinds of stuff happens when you get stuff right in the moneymaker.
All right. I am about 10 minutes late for a call-in show, but we will turn it around as fast as we possibly can. And we are taking your calls, and we're reviewing national championship seasons from 2010 through 21. We're starting a series where we're doing call-in shows. We're reviewing national championship seasons every decade. We're taking the most recent decade for our first show and going backwards. And Wholesome One, I noticed the other night that during one of my coaches rankings call-in shows that you jumped in the live chat.
Yeah, man, I try to be able to catch you and support you when I can. And you brought up somebody who was near and dear to my heart, who's over at K-State right now. So that was real cool to hear him get a nice shout out and things of that nature. So that was real cool. And I like you. We've talked about Dave Doran before, and like I said, I've been to his coaching clinics, so that's how I know Dave, Coach Doran. So I hold him to a different regard than other people because I've met him. Things of that nature. But besides that, some of those coaches that you were bringing up, as far as being scrappy or young and up and coming, and you could see it, being the seeds being planted for a really good career over the next 5 to 10 years. Really resonated with me. I love coaching, and that show was really, really, really good. I'm going to hashtag rewatch squad it because I didn't get a chance to finish the whole thing, so I got to rewatch
it. That. Thank you so much for that. There it is, folks. Wholesome One Holloway right here on YouTube. Get there. Thanks, man. Appreciate you.
Yep, no problem. No problem. God bless, guys.